Hey, what's going on, everybody? Who we 186 back again with another video. This time I'm going to be reviewing the Sony E3 press conference for 2017. I watched the show in full, and I can talk about it. But before I start with that, let me talk about the pre-show a little bit. They showed off the Crash game at the pre-show. They showed off Ni no Kuni, and they also showed a new trailer for Gran Turismo Sport. Now, I don't think I talked about this on my YouTube channel, but when the original trailer for GT Sport, while I love the music that they used in it, and I like some of the features that they had on it, like the customization of the cars on the outside. I thought that the gameplay of it looked underwhelming, and what I mean by that is that it didn't look like it was a big step, from GT6. Now, I had GT6. It was really the last. It was actually the last PS3 game I played before my PS3 took a shit, which was a Gran Turismo 6, and that game looks amazing. Like that game looked great. But I didn't feel like it was that big of a step. At least GT Sport was from GT6. So I was kind of, and then plus, I've seen some videos. Now I haven't been in the beta yet. I definitely want to try out the beta before. Well, I mean, I'm gonna buy it regardless. Like I'm like the biggest GT fanboy out there, so I'm gonna buy it regardless. But I actually would like to try out the beta. But based on some of the gameplay I've seen, it doesn't, like, there's some parts where the game looks incredible, and there's other parts where the game looks ordinary. But the trailer that they showed for the pre-show was phenomenal. Like, if you guys get a chance, look at it, seek it out. It's a great trailer. Lots of things going on in the background. Like, the tracks look great. The cars look great. I mean, the cars have always looked great in the game, regardless of trailer. But I thought the trailer really put some flash and pizzazz into Gran Turismo. I think it needs it because obviously Forza 7 coming out is going to be out this year. That game's looking fierce. So we'll see what happens. I'm getting both, so it don't fucking matter to me. But on to the show. They started off showcasing a couple of they showed off the Crash game. No, did they show off the Crash? No, I don't think. No. My mistake. They started the show off with DLC for both Uncharted, Lost Legacy, which is actually a standalone game, but and also Horizon, I think Frozen Wilds. So I'm trying to get past Horizon right now. The game is intimidating as fuck, you know what I mean? So I'm definitely progressing along in that. And obviously I already passed Uncharted, so I'm looking forward to the Lost Legacy. The game looks fucking epic. So I'm looking forward to both of that. What else did they show? They also showed off they showed off some third-party games. Like not God of War, Call of Duty, Destiny. They showed a lot of VR games, which I don't really care about. But they also showed off the games the games that they had last year, that they announced last year, like Days Gone, God of War, what else? Spider-Man, and they're big. They're in Detroit, like they're big AAA games. They kind of showed more gameplay of that this year, and Days Gone looked great. I don't know if necessarily. I mean, that was the most impressed I've seen of Days Gone yet, as far as like overall gameplay. I do like the obviously the graphics look great, but I do like the idea of kind of I think the way that they showcase the gameplay, that you can kind of attack a situation differently. Right, the dude put the mine put the dynamite on the fence and kind of got all those I don't know what they call them. I mean they're like I don't know if they're zombies. They're like a World War Z monsters or whatever the fuck they call them. Kind of came in and kind of wrecked shop with all the bad dudes. And then at the end with the fucking bear and the barbed wire, like what the fuck, like it's like what the fuck's going on? But You know, that gameplay trailer was great. You know, obviously God of War looked great. You know, I love the combat that they showed. You know, I was afraid that they were gonna change it up. You know, I mean, it is a change up drastically as far as combat goes, because that's my favorite part of the God of War games is the combat. But it definitely, I feel like there's a little bit more reminiscent of the past game with some of the combat that they showed. Look great, and there definitely is an interesting story going on involving Kratos and the boy. So I'm very interested in that. They showed more Detroit stuff, which is fine. It's not. I'm not overtly interested in the game, but it looked good, you know, for people who are into it. And they showed Spider-Man gameplay. First time they showed Spider-Man gameplay, and holy shit, was that shit lit, dude! Like, it was, to me, I would probably say, based on the everything that we saw at E3, I thought that was the best gameplay showcase of the show. I mean, definitely the best of the show for PlayStation, but I think the best in E3 altogether. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. You know, it definitely had a lot of QTs, and I see some people complaining about that. In my opinion, here's how I look at QuickTime events. If the game sucks, then they just become tedious. You know what I mean? If the game is great, then it's not. I don't see it as a big deal. Like, God of War is notorious for QTs, and the game's awesome and they're not bad because the game's awesome, the story's awesome. Excuse me. So I assume that Spider-Man is going to be just the same, and I just love the traversal of the character in this game, because I mean, in past Spider-Man games, I don't think they've struggled with that. You know, at least in my opinion, since I think Spider-Man 2 was on the PS2/Xbox. I feel like they've always struggled with the web sling, at least in my opinion. I mean, I haven't played all of them, but the ones I have played haven't done it for me. So, and plus, Insomniac, they've been killing it this year, this generation, man. They really killed it this generation with Sunset Overdrive, which I'm currently playing. The game's awesome. Ratchet and Clank, which I haven't played, but look, that game last year, that game was a surprise. I don't want to say surprise hit, but yeah, I'll say a surprise hit last year, and obviously this game looking insane. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Now, and overall, I thought that it was a good conference. Like, it wasn't mind blowing. It wasn't this bomb dropping shit that Sony has done for the past 3 years. Let's admit it. It wasn't that this year. What it was them showcasing what they do best, which is first party exclusives. That's what the showcase was about. Now, a couple things that annoyed me about it. Now, I will say that the VR stuff did annoy me, but at the same time, I understand that there's people who want to see support of VR, and if you want to see support of VR, you got support of VR. They show a lot of pretty unique games, especially one game called The Impatient, which is actually a prequel to Until Dawn, which is interesting to say the least. And now again, those games don't interest me, but if you're an Until Dawn fan and you got that hook, that's a pretty neat hook. They got you on when it came to wanting to play it if you're a fan of Until Dawn. I know a lot of people are. But like the VR stuff annoyed me. Another thing that annoyed me was there were no real concrete release dates for some of the games, right? And I know I made a big rant about this last year when it came to some of the Xbox fanboys talking about, there's no release dates, this and that. And I still stand by that. But in my opinion, if you're going to show a game on stage, like a game like Days Gone, I can accept because again they're still progressing. We saw that last year. Detroit, I expected a release date for Detroit, and I don't know if it's come out since. I haven't looked through the internet to see, but a game like Detroit has been showcased on their stage for 3 years now, and as far as I'm concerned, that game at some point needs at least a release window, at least. We got a release date for God of War, and we saw that, and we first saw that last year. At least a release window, which was supposed to be early 2018, which I I don't know necessarily if it's gonna meet that date. I don't know if it'll meet that date, but at least we got a release window. Spider-Man, we got a release window. We saw that last year, 2018. I mean, I guess if you just put 2018, that's the window. That's a big fucking window. But at least we got an idea. With Detroit, 3 years in a row, I expected a legit release date for that game. Another thing that I thought was lacking there was in the conference was ironically enough for the indie games. Now, I don't want to get into the whole narrative shifting bullshit that goes on between fanboys. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's just bullshit, and all it is just fanboys. It's the cycle of fanboys, right? The vicious cycle of fanboys where fanboy A will criticize fanboy B. Oh, you're changing the narrative, and that's why I'm saying this. Why I'm saying power matters now, because you said that power mattered, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. But to me, I would have liked to have seen some indie games at their show. You know what I mean? Like seeing some indies. Now I'm sure they show Matterfall in the pre-show. That's another game I forgot to mention. And Matterfall looks insane. That game looks intense. It's from the same. Obviously, it's from Housemarque, the same people who made Resogun, and one of my favorite games of all time, Super Stardust HD. So definitely that game looks insane. But I would like to have seen a scissor reel of indie games. You know what I'm saying? At least for me. But overall, like I said, if I had to give the conference a score, I would give it a B-. Because at the end of the day, while there was some stuff that they didn't show that I think most people would like to have seen, at the end of the day, they showed their gameplay showcasing of all their major hitters were lit. Pretty much. Days Gone looked great, Detroit looked great, God of War looked great, and Spider-Man, to me, stole the show with the gameplay. So, for me, it was a good conference for Sony. It wasn't, like I said before, it wasn't a blockbuster, super Sony show that we've seen in the last 3 years. It wasn't that. It was more low-key, and they didn't really do much talking at all. It was just, I think Sean Layden came up stage twice. You know what I mean? And it also was like an hour, so it was a shorter show. It was low key, but at the end of the day, they had their games and they focused on those games. I just wish that we would have seen some indie stuff and some concrete release dates for at least some of these games, especially Detroit. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to really say about it. Like I said before, I thought overall, I thought both shows were good shows this year, Microsoft and Sony. Now, definitely Microsoft showed more games, obviously, but the problem with that, like I said yesterday on the Microsoft thing, is that a lot of those games were multi-plat, and a lot of those games are coming out on PS4 anyway. At least on the PS4 side, they showed exclusives, actual exclusives, and Sean Layden even pointed that out, which I knew was gonna happen at some point during the conference. But at the end of the day, while both shows were not like super bomb dropping announcements, at the end of the day you saw a lot of great games on both conferences. And if you're not interested, then I mean that's on you. Me personally, I thought both shows were good. I just thought that they could have been better. You know what I mean? I thought they could have been better. But that's pretty much it for this Hoobie 186. I am out. Peace.